everybody. My name is Larry Shakman. I am a real estate broker for about 22 years. I've been helping sellers, buyers, investors. Of course, I also had my own investment business where I would acquire properties and fix and flip them. So I've done a lot of things in real estate. I'm super excited to launch Your Marketing Matters, the real estate marketing podcast. So today we are going to be speaking with a longtime friend of mine and definitely an influencer in the real estate business, Michael LaFido. And Michael is the CEO and founder at the Luxury Listing Specialist Designation. Okay, so without any further ado, let's bring Michael on and have a great conversation. There he is. There's the legend.
Hey, how are you?
The man, the myth. How's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
We are doing great. Hey, man, I want to introduce you. I want to give you your proper introduction here, even though I've kind of given a little thumbnail. So Michael is the CEO and founder at the Luxury Listing Specialist Designation. And what is really awesome about this designation is you're not only going to get best practices, but you're going to get Michael's system for selling luxury properties. Am I right, Michael?
Yeah, but even before selling luxury properties, attracting luxury opportunities, right? Whether it be high-end or luxury buyers or sellers, you know, you can't sell them unless you get those opportunities. But you're absolutely right. And you know, the other thing I'm really proud about that is we don't have any. We have zero previous luxury sales requirements to get certified in luxury, Larry. And so there's other courses out there that require you to be in the top, you know, X percent in your brokerage or to sell 2 luxury home sales in the last year. And when we launched this in March of 2016, so 5.5 years ago, we eliminated any previous luxury sales requirements as a prerequisite because I want to raise the bar for the industry, and I wanted agents that maybe play pickleball with their girlfriend at the local club, and they get an opportunity to list that friend that they play pickleball with's house. I want them to be successful versus, and by successful, I mean have the tools, the resources necessary by all means to get this home sold, price it right, get it sold. If they fail, then it leaves a black eye on their industry. And so we have zero luxury sales to take our course. And that's one thing I'm really excited about.
You know what? Because it gives everybody a chance to get this designation and increase their GCI, because that's what it's all about, right?
I tell agents work smarter, not harder, and increase their average sale price. I literally had an agent, a Coldwell Banker agent. She'd gone through my course. She had $50 left to her name. And I forgot about this, but she told me, hey, I had asked you if you would, an IOU, in other words, if I paid you from our next closing. And she had never, even to this day, her highest sale was 400 something thousand. She had never listed a home above 450,000. And she's got a $5 million listing today. And she credits all the tools and the principles and the mindset that we helped her, shatter some of those barriers that she had. That
doesn't, like you said, put up any barriers for agents entering into this niche, because it's kind of a different animal, right?
It is. There's no doubt about it. But I like giving that analogy. If you ever saw the movie Hoosiers, right, with Gene Hackman, and this small town basketball team made it to the state championship, and they walk into the stadium and their eyes are all big in the seats, and Gene Hackman goes over to the basketball hoop and he takes a ruler out and measures it, and it's still 10 feet. The point he's trying to say is, guys, these are the same hoops. Ignore all the noise, ignore all this. You're playing here and we're playing on the same hoop that you have back home. Well, my point is, many times agents get all psyched out, or they think, man, I can't sell high-end or luxury homes because of A, B, C, fill in the blank. limiting beliefs, or excuses is another word. But we try to help agents, blow through that and get past those.
Get through that discomfort level, get through that limiting belief in your head that, hey, I don't live in a $7.5 million home. I'm not driving a $140,000 car. How am I going to sell these properties and relate to these people?
And get them to relate to me as well.
Yeah. So that's great, Michael. So let me ask you a question, because I think this will be interesting for everyone to know. How did you get, I kind of know a little bit about your story, but how did you get from point A up until today? So in other words, when did you make the decision to go into real estate full-time? What were you doing and what prompted that decision? That's like 6 questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll start out with the full-time question. So I was a part-time real estate agent. I was a full-time high school health and physical education teacher at a school called Glenbard South, a suburb of Chicago in Glen Ellen, Illinois. And I was a part-time real estate agent. I got my real estate license because I had a deck cleaning and staining company in the summers. That's what I would do during my teaching.
Your team cleaned my deck. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, and now that you tell me that. So we power wash and stain your deck, and we also power wash and stain the deck of a gentleman, Gene or Bart Darfler Realty in Naperville, Illinois. And I didn't know they owned their own brokerage at the time, but the guy's like, hey, have you ever thought about getting in real estate? And I said, no, why? He goes, well, you're likable, you're great with people. He said, oh, I run a real estate company, and my top agent is a teacher and a coach over at North Central College here in Naperville. Think about real estate. And so this was in June of 2000, and fast forward, I was licensed by end of September, early October in June of 2000. And that's how I got into real estate. So I was a part-time agent, and I was selling a couple homes a year, and I was okay the first 3-4 years. And then the light went off, and I started to realize, think differently, be aggressive, don't think like everybody else. And I became a top producing agent as a part-time real estate agent, Larry. At one point, 2007, I was the second leading producer for the entire Midwest for major franchise Realty executives. And that was as a part-time real estate agent. So naturally, people within Realty executives started talking like, man, how's this guy doing it? He's a gym teacher, and how's he doing it? And so people would say, hey, would you mind speaking here? Would you mind speaking here? My first speaking gig was at a Women's Council Realtors event. And so I finally broke away from teaching in March 19th of 2010, to be exact, is when I stopped being a part-time agent and a full-time teacher to being a full-time real estate agent. And by the way, the market was terrible then in Chicagoland.
What year was that?
This was March 19th of 2010. We had a 6-month-old at the house, and my wife was 6 months pregnant. And I stepped away from job security, a tenured position. I was making 85 grand a year. I could sell 115,000 real estate in my sleep. So in other words, I basically walked away from $200,000 given for the rest of my life. And my blue collar family, who were lifers, right? Maybe like your parents, Larry, I don't know, but many of the listeners, if your parents are great parents, right? They were at a corporation forever. So my mom had the same job, same company. She retired a year ago. She was there 30 plus years. My dad did. So to them, the concept of walking away from pension and job security didn't make sense. But Mark Twain once said, 20 years from now, you'll regret in life more what you didn't do versus what you did. I didn't want to live with pain of regret. Like, what if? I felt I had this gift to teach, inspire, and I was just taking that gift from the education system to teaching and inspiring real estate agents.
When do you think you really, careers, businesses, whatever, go through several different phases? You get traction, then you get momentum, when do you think you hit that momentum phase with your luxury business?
So still in 2010, I was selling entry and average price properties. And so I became a part owner of, I was at Remax at the time, and helping run that office. And then I had an opportunity to be a majority owner, 51% owner of a franchise. Some said, hey, let others make money for you, build this organization, which sounded great. But I quickly realized that franchising wasn't my thing. There was just too many red tape and hoops to jump through, but I was a 50% owner of an exit franchise. And then I had an opportunity to help be, if you will, in-house trainer for a luxury broker, $80 to $100 million broker, producing agent herself. She was luxury. So I switched. I became just a license. I sold off my ownership and I became a licensed agent. And this was in a town called Hinsdale, Illinois, where there's year in and year out.
Great area.
Great area. Year in and year out, there's either they're number one or number two for most $1 million single family home sales in Chicagoland suburbs. So I started training some agents there, and I realized that these agents that were selling luxury homes, they were dinosauric in the way they thought. Not necessarily age, but the way they thought. They were definitely inside the box. And so I had a product at the time that I created for real estate agents. It was a box of DVDs and CDs called the Ultimate Listing Blueprint. It's called more leads, more listings, and more closings. It was basically the tagline. And so I take those same concepts of the product and the mindset and systems that I was coaching agents of all price points, but primarily entry level and average. I said, I'm going to focus on luxury only. So I made the shift from my speaking and training, but also from my home selling. And so I focused on luxury. And that was 2013 and 14. And, you know, my increase, my average sale price started to skyrocket. I landed my first trophy listing. I'll never forget, it was $4.5 million. And that was in August of 2014. I invested in this lifestyle video. I had 4 exotic cars we put on a car transport. I paid to have money. I spent $900 for a horse. I brought in 2 film crews. It was pretty cool.
Well, later on in this broadcast, we're going to wrap this up and tour a massive property you just listed and sold. It's waiting to close, but and that would be the Empire Mansion, right? In Barrington Hills, right?
Yeah, Barrington Hills.
Yeah. Tell us a little about that.
Well, you know, I did a podcast just like this on that particular property where I threw it out there to a big group of association of agents I work with and said, how many of you would be interested how I landed this, at the time, $12.5 million listing, how I kept the client for 6 years. This home has been with me for 6 years. Now, I don't know about you, Larry, but some sellers are sick of their agent after 6 days, definitely after 6 months, but 6 years, how I kept the listing for 6 years and how I got it sold. When we put it under contract, there'd been only 3 homes under contract at $7 million and above in the last year in the Chicagoland, single family suburbs. And this is the hottest luxury market ever, and only 3. So we're under contract, and you know, that was a referral from somebody that I went to high school with, who was her aunt's house, her aunt and uncle. And she saw some of the things I was doing to market these other unique properties. You know, that her aunt and uncle were sick and tired, and they wanted it sold. And they said, hey, I got a guy I went to high school with. He's doing some really cool things. And they said, yeah, pass along his info, and someone called me.
What a referral, right?
Yeah.
A $7.5 million referral.
I got a $10 million referral a little over a year ago from a guy that used to he borrowed my box truck. He used to work out at my health club. That's how I knew him. And he borrowed my box truck, my U-Haul truck that I sold, but I had it at the time. I had it wrapped with my brand, 12-haul truck. And that goes to show you, you don't know where your referrals are going to come from. And this guy referred me a $10 million client of his at the health club. And so treat everybody with respect, and you just don't know somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah, you don't know where it's coming from. That's a great point. And look at that. That's $17 million in referrals. And that's just in the last year or so.
Well, that 7.5 one was 6 years ago.
Okay, that's right. You've been with her for a while. Yeah. Now, what's the timeline on selling properties like this? Because I'm sure people are interested in that. What are we looking at in terms of market time with these properties?
At least 3 or 4 years of inventory. So in other words, 3 to 4 plus years on these multi-million dollar properties. So it doesn't happen overnight. So that's one of the things I teach agents, Larry, is to diversify your portfolio. If you think about it, let's say you played the mega lotto and you came across all this earnings, you won this big lotto. Your financial advisor, if they were looking out for your best interest, they would tell you to diversify your portfolio, have some long-term, some short-term investments, have some high risk, low risk, have some liquid cash. No different than the portfolio of homes that you as an agent represent. Most people represent, I say there's 4 primary price points in most markets, Larry. You got entry level or starter price points. You have average price point is the second bucket. The third bucket is what I call high-end homes. High-end homes are homes that are priced 2 times the average sale price for any given market. It's different in Naperville than it is in Wheaton, and different in North Naperville than South Naperville, or one subdivision versus somebody else. So really micro on it. And then the fourth bucket is what we call luxury price points. And luxury is what we define as 3 times the average sale price for your given market. I was doing this training for a guy named Matt Fagioli. He runs these big Explode conferences across the country. And I spoke at an event for him in Kokomo, Indiana.
Wow.
I never even heard of Kokomo, Indiana.
Very bird territory.
Yeah. And this agent came up to me and said, I'm so glad I attended your training on breaking into luxury. I was hesitant because we don't have $1 million plus properties here in Kokomo, but based on your definition, the average sale price here is $80,000. We definitely have a lot of 80 times 3 or 240s, 250s. We have $400,000 homes, Mike, but we just don't have a lot of 800, 900 million. So my point is luxury is all relative.
Yeah, makes sense. There was something I wanted to ask you regarding your Luxe certification, the Luxury Listing Specialist Designation. So we know that when somebody starts selling these luxury homes, which you just defined for us, 3 times the average sale price, these people that get this designation, what do you think, how is it going to most affect these agents in terms of the impact on their business, this designation, and how would they ramp that up quickly? So in other words, they get this designation, they're all excited, they have this system. What do they do to really hit the ground running?
Yeah, so 2 things. First off, being part of the network of other top like-minded agents, from a mindset standpoint, they get access to tools and the logos and all that good stuff. But really, Larry, having mindset that you can do it, believing you can do it is 2/3 of the battle, right? So getting them so confident enough that they're willing to step out of their comfort zone and maybe do some lead gen, or maybe go to that broker open, or maybe volunteer to host an open house at a price point that they've never sold in.
Yeah.
That's a microcosm of how you get there. This gal Jennifer, who is this $5 million listing that I told you about that took my course previously, she's never sold a home above $450,000 in her career, but she's working other people's $1 million open houses. And grow your knowledge and your confidence will grow is what
Absolutely.
I say.
That's the key. That's what gives you the confidence to walk into these homes like you've been doing it your whole life. I'm sure you went through that too when you first started selling luxury homes, like the first luxury home you ever walked into that you're trying to get that listing. I'm sure to some extent you probably had those limiting beliefs too, right?
Oh, we all do. Someone would be lying if they said they didn't. So absolutely. And that listing appointment back then it definitely looked 10,000% different than going on a luxury listing appointment today for me. Recently I switched real estate companies and I went on this $3 million listing appointment for a former big time CEO of a major publicly traded company. I had 0 materials to leave behind for him because I was switching companies. So I didn't have my new business card. I didn't have any print collateral with the new company. And in the end, I was up against some big time agents. But in the end, he ended up hiring me because he did his due diligence on me. And I built rapport with him and he felt a level of comfort and trust there. So my point being, I didn't have all this box of materials, this branded materials, like, sometimes agents feel like they need to.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, they're buying you, they're buying me, they're buying the agent that's sitting in front of them, as opposed to the brokerage that agent's working at, right?
Yeah, a brokerage can help support. And for some people, agents, when they don't have any track record and any experience. They're going to leverage that brokerage and the brokerage's success till they have their own.
Yeah.
But in the end, people want to do business with someone they like and they trust, and you are the brand as an agent.
Yeah, I think that's important. So, you touched on your move, and I'm really, I'm interested in knowing, you have this mammoth luxury business that you've had going now for going on 10 years, 10 years, whatever it's been since you started in that niche, right? And so you were just humming along at probably what is arguably the top luxury brokerage in Chicago Metro, certainly one of them.
It's actually the top by far. 1 in 4 luxury sales in the Chicagoland market was with my previous company. They were number 1 in luxury by far.
Okay.
That wasn't even close.
So there you go. So that leads me to my next question, because why would you move a rockin' business that you have with a company that can support you like crazy, and you're entrenched? I mean, you've built your brand at this, and you moved to eXp Realty. What was the genesis of that decision?
It's a complicated answer, but I'll do my best to explain it. So again, I run 2 businesses. I have my luxury training, consulting, coaching, designation business, and then I have my home selling business. So on the designation side, I've been really leery to join a big franchise. Okay, I was with an independent. They're big here in Illinois, but in the global picture, they're not considered a franchise. And so for me, it was just too no-brainerish after a while that I just said, you know what, listen, my designation speaks for itself. It's been labbed by Keller Williams. They've brought in hundreds of agents that have gone through trainings of mine. I was the number 1 rated speaker at their family reunion. We had a packed room. Fire marshals had to be called, literally people standing outside the door. And I've had other major brands approach me about white labeling or purchasing my course. So I know the content's great. It's been tested. But then getting back to your original question on the home selling side, I have the mentality that I have more tools in my toolbox. I have more experience. I can articulate that I could be with ABC Realty and beat Jenny Rockstar. That's with Sotheby's, Christie's, you name it. So I was never worried about that. So for me, it wasn't that big of a deal going to a company that's 11th in Chicagoland, but it's got tons of momentum behind them. And within the next 6 months, they'll be in the top 7. And within the next year, they'll be in the top 5, but they're not number 1 yet. And so to me, I know the important step of being likable, being trustworthy. Like I was on that $3 million plus listing appointment. My track record can hold its own no matter who it's powered by, right? Or who my brokerage I'm with. And so for me, but there are many agents that think, well, I need that number 1 brand behind me. And, I was coaching an agent once who, and she's a multi-million-dollar millionaire, very successful. And she said she never went on a listing appointment that she didn't get. I also coached a gentleman who once said, I've never taken a listing that didn't sell. And you know what I told him is, you got to step out of your comfort zone more. So the problem, Larry, is some agents, even though they're okay, they're not celebrated where they're at. They're not celebrated. They're not elevated, and they're not challenged as well as encouraged to raise their bar and increase their average sale price and to be more successful. And so I think stepping out of your comfort zone is where the magic happens. So you got to order new business cards, a new sign, and nobody likes change. Nobody likes change at all. But I look at it as a plane ride. I don't like plane rides, but during that plane ride, if there's some turbulence and I got to wear a mask and do all the other things, my destination is the destination worth the turbulence and the journey. And if the answer is yes, I focus on the end result. And so many agents focus on the turbulence, or, I got to get new business cards, or, I got to call the seller and tell them. And they focus on the immediate, and they can't see past the long-term benefits. And so I knew the long-term benefits far outweighed the possibility, of losing some clients. And I lost a couple because the transition happens and you're leaving a listing behind. I left a $10.5 million listing with my old company, and I'm not worried about it. I mean, it's like, and most people are like, you did what? I'm like, yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, well, you'll replace that one for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, so we're going to wrap up by taking a tour through the Empire Mansion, right? Because I want to show everybody this. And actually, you started listing that at your previous brokerage, right? So that actually came on the market while you were at your previous brokerage.
That came on the market when I was previous brokerage. The seller did come over with me to my, to EXP. So it's, as you mentioned, currently under contract within EXP.
We're going to jump into this now. Bear with me. I'm going to share my screen here and let me know if you can see this, because then I know everybody else can see it too.
There we go. Yep.
Okay, so we are going to start this amazing tour of this property.
Before we hit the start button, this is my second lifestyle video I've done on this in 6 years. I've had 3 photo shoots within 6 years too, because I need to do fresh eyes analysis on my property. So, one of the things, like Larry, look at it as an essay paper. Okay, if you were writing a big essay, okay, you would probably have someone else take a look at it. Hey, look over my essay. Are there any misspelled errors, any grammatical, right? They call proofing, okay? Many agents don't do a good job of doing what I call fresh eyes analysis on their own property. So I knew that over the course of 6 years, technology changed, in this case, 4K with video and cameras. And so the clarity on this video is much clearer than the one I did 5 years ago, which was amazing video then. I collaborated with this owner a little bit, and he had some say a little bit too. So this opening scene, we wanted this opening scene to be like Miami Vice.
Yeah.
The opening scene on Miami Vice flying over the water.
Let's take a look at this. I've already looked at it, but it's amazing. So I could look at it like 4 times more. Here we go. 45.
Oh, Larry, start that back. Start that back, all the way back. All the way, even further. No, we're at 0. Yeah, this is the flying over the water here. Miami Vice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. Love that. Look at that shot. That is amazing, that backyard.
We had the bubblers on. We had the lights on.
What do you do with 9.2 bass?
That's a good question. You got a lot of toilet paper. Again, I'm adding this information on the front because, again, credibility, Architectural Digest, most beautiful home for sale.
Turn this sound down a little bit.
Yeah, and they can look this up. They can all Google 45 Lakeview, Barrington Hills. You'll see some videos out there, but look for the one that's most recently in 2020.
Yeah,
2020.
That's how I found this one. So this was featured on Empire.
This was the backdrop. This is the main character's home on Empire.
Is that a little coach house?
Yeah, so that's they call it dog kennel, but it's actually a guest house. A lot of great drone photos as well.
Wow.
Great.
What an amazing looking property. And sometimes you see these properties and on the inside, they're very ostentatious and they may turn some people off, but this one is so tastefully done. It's just a beautiful house.
Yeah, it's timeless. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this. What would you say is the most special part about this property?
The view, backing up to the lake with the pool. I love looking out the back. As far as entertaining is concerned, the lower level is just, to walk out, it's just beautiful. You got a great bar down there, great theater. This is the upstairs we're looking at now, looking down at the foyer. Look at the second floor balcony looking out. Look at those.
Yeah, that is amazing. That second floor balcony. It's like Scarface looking out on his, right?
Yep. So this cinema, here's the theater. Again, during the filming of Empire, I was at one of the filming, and that was Demi Moore's changing room was right here, the theater. This was her area. Her name was on the theater doors.
Oh, for real?
Oh yeah, got a bar here.
Love those floors.
Oh, the floors are heated. Look at it. Looks like something out of Italy here.
There's your elevator.
And now that you've got your 4-car attached, but then you also have another 2-car attached, and then you have a detached coach house. So we made sure we stuck around and filmed at night. This ain't easy to do, Larry.
No, I bet.
You got to be willing to put the time in. But look at night. Look at the colors, how they're vibrant. We had those little spitters on. Yeah, and there's your outro. Your intro is powerful. You get people's attention, and then your last scene, we call it your outro.
I'm going to stop sharing this here real quick. That had to be a lot of fun to sell.
It was great. I showed it to some famous people. Let me put it that way. But my client, for good reason, right, does his due diligence, wants to make sure he knows the name. People are qualified. We had some fake buyers, a lot of fake inquiries. I could write a book.
Yeah, I bet. I'm sure nobody gets into, like, if I wanted to just preview the house just so I could see the house, or any agent for that matter, that's not happening, right? I mean, you need to have an agent that has a client seriously thinking about this house that can afford it.
Yeah, I mean, the only preview, I'm trying to think, I don't know if we allowed one preview in 6 years. If we even thought about allowing a preview, the agent would have to disclose their client's name and their pre-qualification ahead of time. If it was somebody that was out of the country, that sort of thing, then I'm sure we would consider it. I had a showing once where we had about 17 people with the buyer's party through there. Now, we knew ahead of time, so I brought myself and 2 other colleagues. There were three of us there. I led the tour. I had somebody who was kind of like the caboose, bringing up the rear of the tour.
Right.
And I had somebody in the middle for anybody wandering off, getting them back within the tour. We told together, manage the client's expectation. The buyer was from China and their agent was local, but reminded them no photos, stick together, and
yeah,
that was interesting. That was the largest number of people at a showing I've ever had.
Dude, that is a lot of people at a showing. They brought their whole family or what?
Yeah, they brought their family, immediate, and it was a lot. That's
well,
and
I get it to some extent, right? I mean, they're making this major purchase, and regardless of how much money you have, that's a major purchase. But that's a lot of people to come through on a showing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, I want to tell you, I am so excited for you, your career, and everything we're doing at Luxe Group at EXP. I am really just stoked, man. This is
I'm really excited. We're going to keep raising the bar here in the Chicagoland market through amazing, free, no obligation, no arm twisting events.
Exactly.
We got our first one coming up, and RSVP'd. We're almost sold out of it. So we're going to be doing a lot of lunch and learns, a lot of educational events. So make sure you reach out to Larry to get the dates and the times on those. You're doing some Zoom trainings. I'm doing some Luxury Friday trainings out there as well. And so we're just going to continue to raise the bar, lead with a giving hand. And if your brokerage isn't giving you the support, the tools, and the resources, and appreciating you for what you bring to the table, you should consider, talking to Larry, reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you about what we're doing.
Hey, Michael, how do people get in touch with you? If they want to get in touch with you to sell a house, to talk about EXP, to purchase a house, how do they do that?
LuxeChicagolandHomes.com is my website as an agent, LUXE, LuxeChicagolandHomes.com.
It's an awesome website.
Thank you. Yeah, Luxe Chicagoland Homes is probably the best way. Go there, and all my contact information is there.
Hey, Michael, thank you for visiting with us. I know you're busy. You're leaving tomorrow for EXPCon. Didn't line up for me this year. Timing wasn't right. I've got some things going on, but next year for sure I'll be joining you. And man, this has just been great. I appreciate you taking the time to come on, bud.
You're welcome, Larry. Appreciate what you're doing. Keep it up.
I will, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Okay. I'll see you.